This is the Yamaha rolling rack, and this is what we use for most of the events up the hill. First of all, you're going to want to plug it in. This is where we plug it in, right here. Second of all, you're going to want to connect some speakers. So right now, I'm taking two NO4 cables to the speakers, and then I'm plugging them into the left and right outputs from the power amp. Next thing, I'm going to want to turn it on. So I have a power conditioner at the top right here. This is what we just plugged in, and that should turn my whole unit on. In the case that you don't see lights on a piece of equipment, especially a power amp, you're going to want to go ahead and press one of these buttons to turn those power amps on. Otherwise you won't hear anything. Same thing with the 4 wireless mic units. This also has a Tascam CD player and a graphic EQ. Okay. So, basic outlay of the console. Obviously here are all your channel strips. You've got 16 inputs on this board. Only 10 XLR inputs. And let's go ahead by using a wireless mic and trying to get it through the speakers. So I'm going to use the red mic, and on my channel strip here I've got the red one labeled. I'm going to go ahead, turn my stereo fader up. I'm going to hit the stereo bus, which is this red button. I'm going to turn my fader up, make sure my mic is turned on, and I'm going to hit the on button, which is kind of like a mute switch. And then I'm going to control my preamp, check, 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 to get the right level. So as you can see, that works. If I hadn't have hit this stereo bus, it wouldn't work. So make sure that you send it to the master fader. Next we're going to do an iPod. There's a couple of different ways that you can do an iPod. When we use it in Nearly, typically you'd want to use a DI, but when you're using it in another space and you just want to plug straight into the board, you can grab a 1/4 inch split from an 1/8 inch mini and just plug into these line inputs right here. So we can go ahead and send some sound, and then we'll send it to the master fader. So if I press play there, follow down my channel strip, make sure it's turned on, make sure the stereo bus is hit, and then I can turn my fader up. Again, make sure that your master fader is turned up. In the case that you wanted to use it as a DI, I'll show you how to connect the DI. You take your aux cable, and you have 2 1/4 inch inputs on this DI. This is passive DI, so I don't have to give it phantom power. Some DIs you do have to give phantom power. And then I'll plug my 2 XLRs into the back here, and I'll run it over to the board. I'm going to put it in inputs 5 and 6. Like so. Plug some sound through it. And if you're setting up keys and guitars, it's a good idea to check it by putting some sound through, maybe with your phone before the band arrives. So there's some sound. And if I go to my channels 5 and 6 where I just plugged them in at, again, turn them on, make sure that they're going to the master fader, turn it up, turn my preamps up. My track stopped playing with me. Let's play again. And there you go. That's how you make that. that's a good way to test the DI. Now, if I wanted to send it through monitors instead of my main left and right outputs, I'd go to my aux 1 and 2 outputs. Right now I'm just going to switch my mains over to my monitors. Make sure everything's muted. aux 1 and aux 2. So now these are going to act like stage monitors. Still have music going through 5 and 6. So what I do is, again, make sure they're turned on. If they're not on, this will not work. Go to my aux 1 preamp, turn that up, and then go to my master section and turn my aux 1. And as you can tell, I'm getting sound. If I wanted to do it with aux 2, it would just be the same thing. Turn it up on aux 2. My track just stopped, so you probably won't hear anything, but there you go. aux 2. So at the end of it, what we do is we zero out the console, turn everything down. We'll keep the 4 wireless mics there because they stay in this rolling rack, and then you take apart the rolling rack, turn it off, unplug it, put the case back on, and that's how you use a rolling rack.